not all black people agree with that behavior. And again, you're getting pushback, but this is it. And this is the value system that we have. Now look, y'all don't have to it's better coming from black people than it is coming from white people. But white people have a lot to say too. I want you to listen to this. This is Austin Metcalf's daddy, and this after the verdict went down, the gag order was lifted, and he had a lot to say. Okay, I'm gonna let him go ahead and roll through it. Look, I get it. His son died. I'd be saying a whole lot more than that. And the truth is, if it was my son, I would want Carmelo Anthony to get a whole lot more than 35 years, especially since he'd probably be eligible for parole in 17. But we're going to let this man talk. And, this is his son that was murdered. How would you feel? What would you say if you've had a gag order for a year and a half? But again, he's gonna say some very bigoted, racist stuff. Okay, and we don't like it coming from them. We don't like it coming from black people, but you're definitely not gonna like it coming from this guy. Listen to him.
You don't even know who your daddy is because 78% of you don't have your father in the home anymore. You got baby mamas running around with 8 kids so they can get EBT cards to feed you all. You think I'm being racist? No, I'm being real.
Now, the truth is, sir, and I know you're upset, there are more white people on EBT and welfare than black people. I get that. And the other thing is you have to understand, and again, I know you're upset, your son was shot, but it's not all black people, okay? Is your son and that young man had some sort of altercation, and the truth is that your son shouldn't have put his hands on the young man. Let's start with that. I get that. The other boy should never have had a knife on him, and he certainly should haven't used that sort of excessive force. But again, and I empathize with you. I definitely don't want my son to get in some sort of skirmish and end up getting stabbed. But I also tell my sons to keep their hands to themselves. But let's let you keep talking. I know you're angry. I'm gonna give you some airtime. Here we go.
You have embarrassed your own culture and race. Don't get me wrong. We got white people that embarrass the shit out of me too. But you guys, you got a patent on that shit. Y'all can let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all was trying to portray. How about Watermelon Felon? How's that one strike you? I hope he enjoyed his first night in that cell last night. Because he's going to have many nights to think about what the fuck he did.
Fair use, family friendly. Man's angry. He's angry. Okay. Now, just to be fair, again, both of these young men participated in this conflict, and it's a horrible situation. They were both kids, and it should have never happened. One of them should have kept their hands to themselves. The other one definitely shouldn't have responded with a knife. Okay. Now, for this gentleman to take it out on black people, I get what he's saying. He's saying that they have degenerate behavior in white folk society. But see, the problem is that we've let the degenerate people speak on our behalf. You typically don't see trailer park trash and rednecks speaking up on behalf of all white people. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have some ghetto white people, if you use that term, but they don't embrace that. They don't allow that to be the spokespersons of their. They don't have the microphone. Black people, because of our traditional position in this country, we don't typically separate ourselves, or we haven't separated ourselves by class or financial ability. We don't typically do that. Just like we don't separate ourselves by colorism. We all black. If you're sitting at the table at your grandmother's house, your crackhead cousin might have the same say-so as your engineering cousin. Okay, all of them can sit there and be treated the same. In most country families, if you're a person in the family of a lower standing or lower social, or you don't even have anything to say, you go sit out back with the dogs and the kids, so to speak. But in black culture, we try to give everybody the right to speak, and everybody has a voice, which is something that we are beginning to change. But That's what he means. We have a patent on it. Okay. Shout out to everybody contributed to the Super Chat, Cash App, and the paper. I see y'all. I'm just trying to roll through this. It's a very serious subject, and I wanna just roll through. You guys make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. But let's let this gentleman finish speaking.
Because 400 years ago, someone actually sold you to us, and we took you over here and put you to work. And then
you didn't do anything, sir. You were poor. You didn't do anything. The vast majority of slaves, and that's what he's talking about, were owned by the top 1% of white people. Okay. And then you also had black people who owned slaves. You also had Africans who participated in the slave trade. So now he's just throwing stuff out there. Now this is just venting and angry. I get it. The man's angry his son died, so he wants to be mad at the whole culture. It's not all black people, sir. It's not all black people. You can't, just like you don't want us throwing all white people under the bus. Okay, you shouldn't allow you, because he did well early on. He said the Proud Boys showed up and they were trying to turn this into a racial issue. And he said, no, you're not going to turn my son's death into a racial issue. He did well a year and a half ago, but whatever. I guess he's angry now. And I understand why the man's angry. He lost his son. I get that. And then there's been a lot of mean, horrible things said about him and his family and his children. But this has been a highly contested matter. But at some point, we're going to have to try to figure out how we're going to live together in this country. Okay. Now, some people just want me to let the video play. I'm not going to do that. Okay. I'm not. If you want to see this video, you can go over there to social media, Instagram, or wherever, and you can look at it for yourself. Here, we're going to put it in context. I'm not going to let anybody rant. Okay. So be offended if you want to. I'm not going to let it go like that. On top of that, YouTube might demonetize me for that. Let's keep going.
A civil war to free your ass. And now you want to talk shit? Oh, I'm being so oppressed. You couldn't even vote 1960.
That's not true. Black men could vote way back before white women could vote. White women couldn't vote until after black men. And on top of that, we had the right to vote after the end of this. We had black people who were elected to office at the end of the Civil War during a period called Reconstruction. There were black people sitting in Congress right back in those same congressional seats. So that's inaccurate, sir. But I'm going to let you continue.
Look how far you've come. Look at all the free shit we give you.
Free? I think it's cost a lot in blood and treasure. You have black people who have participated in all the wars, and many of our ancestors were here before your ancestors arrived, just so you know. And I'm not just talking about the Africans. I'm talking about Native Americans, because black people, by generally speaking, are an amalgamated people. We have white ancestors, but we were here before your ancestors in many instances. Go ahead and continue, sir. Go ahead and continue.
You're not oppressed. You're fucking entitled.
Yeah. So yeah, he's very angry. Again, I understand why the gentleman's angry. His son was murdered, and his family was drugged through the mud. But the bottom line is, it's not all black people. Just like you don't want to throw all white people under the bus. At the end of the day, these were two children. They got into a fight, and they both participated. One of them pushed the other one. He shouldn't have done that. And the other one overreacted. Period. And it's totally it's unfortunate. You got the Carmelo Anthony was sentenced to prison, and that's what we do in a civilized society. It's not really much more we can talk about, but we'll move on to the next video. You guys hit the #1 button. But again, it's the degenerate behavior. Okay. It's degenerate behavior, and whether you're a good kid or a bad kid, this and for all intents and purposes, Carmelo Anthony didn't have a criminal record. He hadn't done anything prior to this. Okay. But we still have to deal with the fact that he too was touched. Just like some of your kids. You didn't raise your kids in the ghetto, but they still do ghetto things. Some of our young professionals think it's okay to try to, you don't know if you want to be an engineer or a gangster. You don't know if you want to be a school teacher or a stripper. Some of the school teachers can do twerk better than the strippers. Not that I would know, of course. I'm just saying, okay? So where'd that come from? We have to begin to ask ourselves that.